This hunter build allows you to blind everything using dodges whilst being able to maintain fairly good melee damage that melts all types of adds, gives you health regen on every melee kill whilst also giving you extra protection using certain charge light and elemental well mods. So guys, before we jump into this quick build, be sure to check out my sponsor Awaya for cheap Destiny Silver and use my code DIVIDE at checkout for a discount on top. And now as always, smash that rating and let's get straight into it. Before we start, if you like these build videos and you want to see more, why not check out the full playlist of top fun and insane builds this season. It's linked below. And be sure to subscribe if you want to see more, as I cover new and updated builds every week here on the channel. But with this build, you will be able to run around like a god, melting everything with your melee, and for those adds that don't die, when you dodge, they'll be blinded, so you have time to melt them down before they can even react. This is great in all types of easy to mid-tier difficulty activities, but it's still usable in master content, although you want to play it safer and smarter if you do take this into those game modes. Because running around punching adds in the face and dodging near them to blind them may be a little harder to achieve, as they can also melt you instantly too. Now how you would use this build is run in and get a melee kill. This will activate combination blow ×1, giving you increased melee damage, stacking up to 3 times, while also dropping an elemental well. Then picking up that well will further increase melee damage and give you 2 stacks of charger light, dodge near an enemy to explode them or blind them if they didn't die, whilst also giving you a melee straight back. And rinse and repeat. A pretty simple but effective build in low tier content, fun to use but harder to keep effective in the end game. But now let's take a look at that full setup to achieve this build. So starting with the loadout, like most of my build videos, there is no requirement, so you can use whatever you want, but as we are a blinding build, I'd recommend a grenade launcher with blinded grenades, like the ignition code, as these blinding nades are still top tier to use in Destiny 2, but if you are going into harder content where you might have champions, then perhaps also slot on some weapons that can deal with those champions. But for the subclass, we are running the top tree arcstrider, which comes with combination blow, where killing enemies with that melee will trigger health regeneration and increase the melee damage, stacking up to 3 times, which is actually a pretty good damage buff, and you can melt adds with this when you pair it with some good mods and exotics, but we'll also get combat flow, where melee kills recharge your dodge. And we're going to be using the Gambler's Dodge, where dodging near an enemy refreshes your melee, so it's just an infinite loop of chaining those abilities. Moving on to your exotic armor, there are so many different exotics you can use for this build, but for this one, we're going to be a blinding build, so we are going to be using the Bombardiers, which I believe you can get from any exotic engram well drop. But what this does is leave behind an explosive that detonates after a short delay, which damages targets around it and creates a secondary effect based on your subclass energy type. Arc will blind targets, Solar burns them, Void suppresses them, and Stasis will obviously slow them. Not a terrible exotic, and those blinding abilities can be really useful in all types of content, but to maintain that effect in things like a Master Nightfall, you might find it a little difficult, so I'd probably stick to using this build in the easy modes. As for those mods, in no particular order, starting with a helmet, we have Melee Wellmaker, where powered melee final blows spawn elemental wells matching your subclass, which will be arc wells, and with this we do have hands on for bonus super energy on melee kills. If you do take this into harder content, then maybe swap this out for an ammo finder mod, so you can keep a consistent amount of heavy ammo for boss DPS. But for the gauntlets, we have our champion mods, and if you're using this in easier content, then you can swap these to some ability cooldown mods if you want. And then with our chest armor, I'm using Protective Light, one of the best charge light mods in the game, as this will give you extra protection from enemies when your shields break. Really good for the endgame, along with Concussive Dampener and our Ammo Reserve mod. But you might want to slot on a melee resistant mod with this build, as you will be up in your enemy's face quite a lot. Moving on to the legs, we have Well of Irons, another elemental well mod where picking up arc elemental wells will cause our next melee to deal increased damage. Thought this was a good choice, as we want to hit adds with our melee to get our dodge back, to then get our melee back again. So you want to maximise that damage on the melee as high as possible. But with this, I also have the Fusion Scavenger mod for my 1000 voices. And lastly for the class, we have Elemental Charge so that we can become Charge Light when picking up those elemental wells. And we should get 2 stacks all the time, as they will be arc wells that match our subclass. And then I am using Particle Deconstruction, but you can use whatever you prefer. But this is the best mod to use this season if you are going to be using fusion rifles in Season of the Lost. The stat I'd max out is Mobility, so that you can move around a lot quicker, while also passively getting your dodge back in 11 seconds, which most of the time won't be needed, but it's always a good thing to have on a hunter. Otherwise, the next stat you would want to max out is Recovery to 100 to get that faster health regeneration. So overall, this build, it is pretty fun to use and really effective in easy content in my opinion. I'd probably restrict to using this build in strikes and content up to legend difficulty. But if you do plan on using it or giving it a try in harder content like master activities, you will need to play it a lot safer because realistically, you're not going to be able to punch ads in the face and dodge near them constantly without getting yourself killed in the process. But overall, a pretty fun build to use and mess around with. But guys, that is your quick Hunter's newly updated blinding build for Destiny 2 Season of the Lost. Next you should check out the playlist for more top fun best builds to use in Destiny 2 Season 15, and definitely give this one a try and let me know how it performs. And I'll see you all very soon for the next one.